Hello, 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 beautiful people.
Hello there, everybody. And Ron Simpson, you are number one in the house. Good to see you. Israel, great to see you. I'm so glad you made it. Scott, hello there, Kevin, Miss Regina, and Robbie. Hello, guys.
Israel, are you in Peru? I'm curious. Yeah, guys. Yeah, Cindy's got a new style going on. She's got an ice pack on her head. She was just here's this. Do you want to hear how this works? This relationship between me and her. About an hour and a half ago, I get bit on the butt by a tick. I kid you not. And now she's got a whopper headache. I kid you not. Is that just insane? I get bit in the butt and she develops a headache.
I know. It's just, it can get comical around here.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Oh, thank you so much, Israel.
Oh my gosh,
I, I,
Israel.
I, I,
Israel,
I don't
put me
know.
down for an appointment.
I don't know exchange rates and all, but
Thank you.
thank you, brother. We appreciate you as always. Much love. I hope everything is going well on your trip.
Oh gosh, Israel, thank you. Oh, and happy birthday, Mike. I know. Oh, it's okay, Israel. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, brother. Hope to see you there soon someday.
Yeah, I was feeling very good today. I was feeling very upbeat today. We had one of our favorite people over at the house and everything, and that was a blessing. And I finally feel better from getting bit by a whole swarm of yellow jackets the other day, and then now a tick gets me on the butt. I kid you not. We got it off immediately. I don't know. I was sitting on the chair in the living room. I didn't even go outside.
Dogs barely were outside.
The dogs were barely outside. I just basically went out this morning to let the chickens out and to give them some food. And that was really it. I didn't step outside at all and still got bit.
I know. So, it's just life is weird. Life is very weird. I hope you guys are having a better day. We're having a good day. We always have good days. It's just weird.
Yeah, and thank you, Israel, for coming and sharing with us while you're there on vacation and enjoying yourself. Yeah, there's so much that is getting to be pretty obvious to people around the planet. I also wanted to thank our newest Patreon, Carl. Again, Patreon has been a blessing for us. Patreon literally is what kind of pulls most of the weight when it comes to doing these videos and all. But, again, your super chats and all your support, again, we couldn't do it without you guys.
Everybody else.
Yeah. Did we say hi to everybody here?
I don't know. Let's just do. I just like to be sure. We have a KK, a Sin Havoc, Renee. Good to see you. Oh gosh, watch out for that sassy. I let her in there every now and then. Good. We got Simon S. Good to see you. Good to see you. So,
Dan.
and Dan. Hello, Dan.
Robbie.
Libby Dickinson. Good to see you. All right.
Jason and Oz, right?
Jason and Oz. Hello, I did not. Good to see you.
Sin
Dan.
Havoc,
Sin
Renee
Havoc,
O'Leary.
Renee. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phil Don.
Phil Dunn. Hello. Editing reality. Let's see. So, Mike, why are you talking about the bioengineered crap? You're helping the controllers. People will create this more. Do you not understand that 99% of what's happening on the planet are lies and we create it? Right. So if we see a truck coming, we're just going to let the truck hit people, right? Because the truck is coming. I think that's all we can say about that.
Honestly, I know you've been with us a long time, but don't you realize that, people have been suffering from complications from things again like Lyme and others? We can overcome a lot. believe me, I'm a Reiki master healer and Qigong practitioner for like 40 years. And I've literally worked on people, and we've had tumors disappear, all sorts of things go away. So yeah, we're well aware of it. But again, I've seen my own body after a tick bite develop rheumatoid arthritis, and then through the qigong and dietary changes, it went away. So this is very real. There are real things that are out there getting people sick. So I just don't understand that type of statement. That is just so illiterate. It's just not understanding the situation at all. This is the reality. Just like with this in Venezuela, whether this was natural, possibly augmented, possibly anyway, people left this reality. There many people that are totally squished. A whole family's gone. Is this just? I just don't understand. I don't understand where people come from sometimes.
Well, I mean, we weren't talking about this and it still happened. So I don't understand. It's like some people hear things about manifestation and they get something really weird in their head, and they come in here and act like, they have their own YouTube channel and everything. But you need to go make your own YouTube channel, because this world has consequences. And whether you talk about it or not, like the people of Venezuela, they weren't planning on dying. They weren't talking about dying. And here they are. They're gone. So, that's just really frustrating. Just on a personal note, it's very frustrating. We stick our necks out, and we do our very best for people. We absolutely 100% give our hearts to anyone who needs it. So that kind of pushback, it is hurtful, and it won't be tolerated.
No, again, it's just mind blowing sometimes, and not. It's just you can't understand where people are coming from in that sense. I mean, I've worked in many industries and seen people going through complications. I worked for 3.5, 4 years for a pharmaceutical company, and we had Lyme patients on the roll. And yeah, I mean, I think natural is the way to go. Always work on building your immune system. So if your immune system is really strong and vibrant, I think we can overcome just about anything. Again, through building the immune system, detoxing, exercising, we really do live this. Like, today, 45 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, 45 minutes of Qigong, another 20 minutes of yoga, and about an hour of weightlifting. That's what I do every single day. That's, the type of care that we put into it. Plus, we only eat organic, again, even though the food can be, not organic when it is organic, again, always looking to build the immune system, always looking to detox regularly. So, yeah, there is a lot out there that we are being hit by, and people are really losing their lives in ever increasing numbers. So I think that's one of the big disservices too, when on the other end of the spectrum, like ignoring something and thinking that because you ignore something, it's going to go away. No, and this is why we harp on this, because if we do stick our heads in the sand and, don't call people to look at what's happening in Lebanon, look at what's happening in so many different places with real things, they're just going to keep going on, and people are going to suffer. So, yeah, it's just mind-boggling where some people come from. You could go on both sides of it. We can't give something too much energy, but at the same time, if we try to ignore something that's very real, that's just it is. It's just very ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, I do not understand that. And I've heard people, I think there's a concept there, I think there's a concept there, but we have to deal with what's in front of us, not what might be in front of us, not what's potentially in front of us. And Venezuela and Lyme disease, these things are right in front of us. The ticks are really bad. And I've seen people, leave comments like, oh, you're buying into the tick thing. It's very real in our lives. Mike almost lost his life last year. So, and there was other people in the area ended up in the emergency room. So, no, I mean, it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, did we didn't talk about the ticks and the ticks came. We didn't talk about Venezuela and Venezuela came. So I'm just not understanding it. Just because you look at something and you try to help other people not step in the same pothole you did, it doesn't mean you're creating it. So there's that. There's just, I guess it's all about trying to pit us against each other. And sometimes when you do work really hard and you put your heart out for everyone and just try to create a safe space and you get kicked for it, it hurts. We're human. We're human.
Yeah, so this is, I think, where we get these misconceptions about what reality is and creating our reality. Because, I think there's those out there that say if you just simply don't give something attention, it won't happen. And then also there's thoughts about how do we shift to a more positive mindset. Again, as I saw, there was a comment. Rosemary said we need to get out of fight and flight mode. Absolutely. And the more we could train ourselves to shift over to the rest and digest, that's the other side of the nervous system, yeah, the more healing we could actually do. But this is where we develop our ability to control our emotions, to not go into that fear mode, panic mode. It's something that everybody is working on. Hopefully we're working on it. Yeah, at the same time, if we ignore stuff, it doesn't go away. It just doesn't disappear because we're not feeding it. And other people, it's thinking about others, because other people are really, really suffering. This is really, the thing to recognize. There's a lot of people suffering. And there's a lot of people suffering from different things. Like, here you go, Rocky Mountain spotted fever. You could see this map here. If we don't talk about it, does that help anybody? I tend to think not. If we're trying to help people understand natural ways of doing things and working on, creating conditions where your body can reestablish homeostasis, and good health. If you've been bitten by ticks and you've suffered from Lyme, Babesia, ehrlichiosis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, alpha-gal. I mean, there's so many different things. Ticks are a vector for so many different things. And again, we're going to share some numbers. 500,000 people every year at this point in time, and it's increasing in the United States alone, are getting beset with these different diseases because of tick bites. And, again, this is something that it feels like it's been fomented. It's something that it feels like has been manufactured, to again, not mince words. So, again, when you look at this map, you could see where the high prevalence is. And, it's the mid-Atlantic states, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Tennessee, Mississippi and Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. These are high prevalence states for Rocky Mountain spotted fever. RFK Jr. reveals almost 500,000 Americans contract Lyme disease, which was created in a U.S. bioweapons lab. We do know that's an actual fact. 60% of all ticks tested in New Hampshire carry Lyme disease. Doctors diagnose 476,000 Americans with Lyme disease every year. And now there's so many other things besides that that ticks are a vector for. They are a way that this infection will travel from one person to another. Again, if we are at our optimal health, if we are detoxing regularly, eating as well as we can, exercising, mind, body, breath practice, we can overcome just about anything. I really, really think we can. But the fact is, as RFK was talking about here, This was a bioweapon the United States created to attack Cuba with. That's what the declassified documents are showing.
Doctors diagnose 476,000 Americans with Lyme disease every year. This spring, Americans visit an emergency room for tick bites more than any other time in history. A clear sign that this threat is growing. Lyme disease affects all 50 states.
Well, 49, I didn't think it was up in Alaska. But yeah, it's hard to hear him on this. Again, he has a throat chakra issue. But yeah, I mean, this, in some ways, you could look at it as karmic backlash. But again, you have politicians and corporations that are making these decisions. And, again, it's like the karma does spill over to everybody in the country. It's just a reality of what's going on. And, it is feeding certain industries. They're making so much money off of this. It's really, really sad. When you look at it, Connecticut, that's where I was born. So my cousins, I remember when my cousins, who are very healthy, totally unplugged. I mean, these are total hippies, that got sick very bad with Lyme disease. One of my cousins has had bladder problems all her life after contracting the Lymes. And, they're relatively healthy people. I mean, relatively healthy people without any real bad habits. But it's still been a very, very hard thing to overcome.
It is. It is. I mean, everything takes time. Things take practice, and this is that we have to work with what we have to work with. It's kind of very black and white, and you just do your best with what you have every single day. I mean, it took many years for us to get into the system that we're in now, and I think it's going to take many years for us to get out, because to not need the system, it's going to take a lot of planning and, a lot of forethought, and a lot of people who are very, very willing to do different things. And we're not quite there yet. We still have the masses. We need the masses. We need them to help. And they're not quite there. So, I mean, this is what we have. We're doing the planning. We're doing the forethought. We're stepping out where we can. We're doing things differently where we can. You work with local farmers. You work with local people wherever you can. And, you start from there, but the light shines from within you first. I mean, you're a candle that can light 1,000 candles and not lose your power. So you are very powerful.
Yeah, so here you go. This is a helicopter pilot whistleblower. It says, I work for a private charter company in Ontario, Canada. We get paid handsomely to airdrop ticks every year. This year we dropped more and earlier. They were deer ticks. This isn't nature, it's deliberate. Tick-borne alpha-gal syndrome, that's that meat allergy nightmare, which it appears there are certain acupuncture things that you can do that can alleviate it. Again, I think nature has a cure for everything, really, when you get down to it. But tick-borne alpha-gal syndrome, the meat allergy nightmare, has exploded 9,800% in the U.S. since 2013. That's enormous. Coincidence or part of a plan to crash the food supply and control the population? It goes back to that Gil Bates and his cronies. Yeah, I mean, the WEF and others have even talked about, if everybody had allergies to meat, wouldn't it be wonderful? That's literally what they've said. And you have, pilots that literally have blown the whistle. There's a lot of pilots, too, that have come forward and admitted to chemtrails. And, it's a program. They have what they call indigo pilots that literally, these are people often with no families, no connections to anybody or anything except for money and the love of money. So they get paid handsomely and they spray the skies. And again, it's a real problem. This is Representative Tim Burkett. In case you haven't seen that before, and we'll see, he usually speaks pretty boldly.
Ticks. Watch that thing.
The tick thing is nuts.
Yeah,
especially
because of meat, because of Gates.
Well, there's
Bill Gates,
boxes
not
people
Matt.
are finding. I don't know if this is true because I've seen many reports on it, but I'm just going to say what I saw. That farmers, ranchers are finding boxes of ticks on their property. Now, I don't know if that's fake.
Yeah,
I don't know if
either.
someone's setting that up to pretend they found these boxes of ticks, but there's videos of these people finding boxes of ticks.
Now, what they'll say is they'll probably say they're sterile ticks and that we're planting them out there so we can diminish the population, is what they'll say. But anytime they try to mess with the balance of nature, it never goes right.
Is that what they're saying? This is
No,
where
just
you
get
hearing
ready.
that from?
That's what
you
you're
think?
getting it right here.
I don't believe you have a right to go to someone's property and drop off sterile ticks.
No way in hell.
That's crazy either way.
And the thing is, we know people that have farms, and we know people that have seen helicopters and planes either circling or hovering over their farms and wondering what the hell are they doing. These are small farms, but still, we live next to a small farm, about 150 acres, right next to us. And, you know, I've seen drones that look like they went down low enough to land over that. And when I say a drone, too, I don't mean like somebody's toy drone. I mean something the size of a Reaper. And I don't even know if it was human in origin or not.
No, I don't know. It's just we're all trying to explore this and figure our way out, because every person's situation is very, very different, and not everyone can step out of the system, the way we want to. So it's just a process we go through, and the more stuff that we look at, the more ways we can find for people to take a path and create a path for themselves, so they're not exposed to all the trauma that's created.
Yeah, and here you go. This is Nicholas Holzer. He does a really good job, and I'll let him speak for himself here, and hope that none of these videos will have an issue with, any sort of repercussions.
Farmers reporting boxes of ticks. We see some reports of tick releases from aircraft. None of those can be fully verified yet, but we do know in the 1960s, the U.S. Army released over 200,000 ticks into the wild for biological weapon purposes to see how the ticks would spread. And over 100,000 of them were Lone Star ticks. So the Army released it before. The bioethicists are calling for intentional release of them to better give humans alpha-gal syndrome. In that peer-reviewed paper, they call it morally obligatory to release GMO ticks into the wild. So that, in my opinion, is bioterrorism, just masquerading as bioethics. And Bill Gates is funding GMO ticks. He's literally funding them through a company called Flitter to make some sort of self-limiting cattle tick. And then the fourth component is the fake meat. They need to increase the sales of the fake meat. Gates funded lab-grown meat that won't contain alpha-gal through Upside Foods. They'll be able to engineer it to not contain it. Again, grown in a test tube. And then they'll also have Beyond Meat, all the soy-based garbage. So all of this combined indicates to us that something's going on, and there may be some bioterror-related activities resulting in the 10,000% rise in alpha-gal syndrome.
That's pretty obvious, right? I mean, shouldn't bioterrorists be arrested? Isn't there such a thing as citizen arrests? I don't know of anybody that's perhaps more of a, very well-educated lawyer in these things that would be able to give the public an idea what could really be done. Or is it simply there are some beings that are above the law, and they just don't have to answer to the law. Maybe they will answer to karma and the law of cause and effect. especially when we catch it out and we know it. And we're saying, no, we don't go along with this. We don't want anybody to GMO anything. So we blatantly, extremely vehemently deny that we want anything like this going on.
Yeah, I know. It's really it's really tough. I mean, what can you do? You can just do what you can do. Everybody's at a different place, and you got to find people and work with them where they're at. If you want to do it realistically, I mean, we can get angry and just go off the deep end, but that's not going to get us anywhere. I mean, we can curse Gil Bates as much as we want and Fauci. It is all very, very frustrating. But I think what we need to do is really focus on our health and work on ourselves and figure out, okay, what do I need to change in myself that can make me stronger to help the next person who does need help, to help talk them off the cliff or whatever is going on in their lives. Because really, ultimately, the only one we can help is ourselves. We absolutely have to do this ourselves. And once we are really, really strong, then we can bring others in.
Yeah, it's just beyond ridiculous that this is allowed to go on. And so many people understand now, and yet they're still blatantly doing it. Blatantly doing it. When you look at, there's different types of ticks, and there's many different tick diseases. Again, when I actually got Lyme disease, again, I was working for a pharmaceutical company, and on our patient roll, we typically had 50 to 70 people under treatment for Lyme disease. Again, mostly going through a series of different antibiotics. That's really kind of, for the most part, that's what it was. You give them Doxy at first, then you might cycle them through Vanco, Rocephin, and others, depending on how they're responding. I didn't see really anybody getting better, honestly, from the pure pharmaceutical approach. That was from what I saw. So when it happened to me directly, and, I got bit crazy enough at the end of January, I was hiking and going up in Sleeping Giant State Park. It was all snow covered. I didn't think I'd have any chance of getting a tick on me. I even had a winter jacket. It was all bundled up. And I went out with my 2 dogs at that time and did like 5-mile hike by myself. And then like 2 days later, I felt really sore in my left tricep. And I asked my wife at that time, why is my arm sore? She said, you got a tick and you got a big bullseye on you. And so we took it and we brought it to the doctor. The doctor tested me positive for Lyme's. And then I started to develop rheumatoid arthritis. But I went to a naturopath in town. I didn't go the MD route. I went an ND route. This naturopath was a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, an herbologist, and that's what we did. We went on all the alternative means, and it took me 9 months, but I was better. Actually, I felt better after 9 months than I had previous because I learned a lot from my naturopath who taught me about all the inflammatory foods I was eating, and I learned to eat for my blood type and a lot of different things. And it was a real turning point in my life because then that really set me completely off on the natural way of doing things. And so I eventually, not too much longer after that, I left the pharmaceutical company, which was one of the best paying and by far the best benefits I've ever had as far as jobs went. But I just didn't want to work for them anymore, especially like as I learned from the pharmacists that most of them there would not do the standard treatments if they got the big C, if they were facing different things. And the head pharmacist there was very honest with me. We had talks about his wife that was going through a nightmare with really bad MS. And he knew what it was. He understood where this came from. And he understood what's going on with us all, with the bigger corporations. but he was still locked into it, and he was making, I don't know, 500,000 a year or something. So, he was locked up into his position with his schooling and his lifestyle. I was just a distribution manager, so I moved on to other things and started to, literally decided I would become certified in personal training, massage therapy, and I went down all the different natural alternative type of things that I could to better my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone has to come up with their own solution. And how better to do that than to get with people who are also looking for a solution. I mean, there's not going to be one size fits all for anyone, and you can't just tell people, oh, just stop spending money, because we just need to stay realistic. And what they want us to do is really lose our marbles and go against each other and be angry, and then we're really buying into what they want us to do to each other, just cut each other to bits, and because some person is not doing what you want them to do. But maybe that person can't, There's things that people need in this system to survive in order for us to come together on this daily basis. People are still needing the system. You can't just stop spending money. That's not going to happen. That's not being realistic. That's not being grounded. I mean, if we really want to walk through this and make a better life for ourselves and heal, and for our children or our grandchildren, we have to stay grounded. We really do. It just does not help to lose your mind. Not right now.
Yeah. So this particular map is showing the different types of, two different types of ticks out there, and the amount of cases back in 2018 of Lyme disease. So, where has Lyme disease been predominantly found? Again, I spent the majority of my life in Connecticut, but I've also lived in both Carolinas. I lived in Georgia and Florida and other states as well as out west. In Nevada, hey, we didn't see anything, but then we were in Death Valley, so that was kind of a blessing. This is showing this spread right here over a decade, because you can see the epicenter is the Northeast, but it's spread everywhere now. And it's not just Lyme that we are worrying about. So purple is Lyme disease. And then you see Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's kind of a reddish, maroonish. Anaplasmosis is that green, ehrlichiosis in blue, babesiosis, which is what killed my 4-year-old healthy, strong pit bull. And he got bit the exact same time I did. It was literally like January 31st that we were both bit. And, it was just a nightmare, because this dog was so healthy, and he died. It took him out, and healthy, strong dog. It was just really, really sad. I felt so horrible, because he was a great pup, and we would go hiking all the time together. And I could trust him too. He was very, very responsive. Didn't have to keep him on leash. And then tularemia as well. There's more now that's out there too. So you can see there's little sprinklings all over. California actually has a lot of ticks as well. So epicenter started in Connecticut. That it's named after old Lyme, Connecticut, but it's pretty much everywhere. This is again showing tick-borne disease cases in the U.S. by county. This is 2019 to 2022. So, where you see the green, and then it gets, the darker, you can see the darkest is really still up there more in New England. And this is the forecasted prevalence of Lyme disease as of 2026. So the red is the worst spot. And you could see, again, it's still the Northeast and New England, but it's going all the way on down through Appalachia. And then you also have it up in Wisconsin and Minnesota, Michigan as well, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Ohio as well, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina. Those are all in the red. But it's all over, and it's not even just in the United States either. Even though we were ground zero for Lyme, there's a lot of it's been spreading everywhere. So if you're wondering, what's the states rather with the biggest problems by cases? Incidentally, at this point, the most reported cases, Texas number one. That was a little surprising. California 2, Florida 3, Pennsylvania, Georgia, New Jersey, because it really is. It's an issue for almost everywhere. This is the worst states for ticks. So yeah, your top 10 worst states for ticks: Texas, California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Georgia, New Jersey, Tennessee, Virginia, Maryland, and Massachusetts. Then we go to Oklahoma, Arkansas, New York, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, West Virginia, Connecticut, Ohio, Kentucky, Missouri, Michigan, Delaware, Colorado, and Kansas. Well, how about the best? I asked. Okay, which are the states that have the least problems with ticks and tick-borne diseases? Alaska is the only U.S. state without native tick species capable of transmitting diseases to humans, largely due to its harsh, cold climate. For the lowest incidence of tick-borne illnesses and minimal tick activity, the following states are consistently identified as having the fewest problems: Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming. These states, particularly those in the West and upper Midwest, benefit from dry climates, high elevations, and sparse forest coverage, which are inhospitable to the black-legged ticks that primarily spread Lyme disease. While ticks exist in every U.S. state, their populations and disease transmission risks are significantly lower in these regions compared to the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and the Southeast. So, again, this is something we can overcome. But you could also see that there are ticks, Africa and Europe, Asia as well, Central America. And in fact, if you look at Canada, you could see the Lyme disease risk areas in Canada, which is primarily where the larger population centers are in Canada too. So when you think about it, well, people can transmit Lyme from one to the other. I think your best defense is really, again, taking all the precautions you can. There's certain things that they don't like, and we're going to get into that too. But also, again, detox regularly, boost your immune system, exercise regularly, eat as good a food as you can. We really have to make ourselves the healthiest version of ourselves in order to stave off disease. Again, probably the most damaging, the people that would suffer the most damage are those with already compromised immune systems.
It is, and yeah, I do like that Mike is breaking all this down. I think it needs even more attention, despite what other people might think. We really need to get this information out there because the light is our biggest weapon. The light, shining the light on anything and everything is the most important thing we can do right now. I mean, we have to, whenever something is gross and nasty and moldy and rotten and stinky and no good, you shine a light on it. And what does that do? That just seems to resolve everything. Even if you have a blanket that's moldy and gross, you can go put it under the sun and it's going to kill a whole lot of bugs. So that's how I see this. And I am glad that Mike is talking about it more. We need to have a greater understanding of really what's going on and outline it to a higher degree. So this is all very good.
Again, also I've been a retirement community manager, and that was one of the bigger joys of my corporate world life. And I've seen people that have had lifelong diseases and things they've been suffering with. I guess, there's different types of people. Now, for me, if there's something going down that's disastrous, I'm not going to just vacate and keep my mouth shut and take care of myself. There are some people that will choose to do that. No, I'm going to try to make other people understand what they're facing and then try to help them through it. That's just my choice, and that's in my soul. That's who I am in my soul. Even if it means, sticking my neck out. This is showing Europe, so you could see it's also even kind of, surprises me to be up in Sweden and some of those colder climates too. But yeah, ticks are a problem everywhere. You can see they're in France, they're in the Netherlands, they're in Denmark, they're in Germany, they're in Poland, and all throughout, even up in the Alps. It looks like in Switzerland. And again, this is a global problem. It's something where we can do things to lessen the likelihood of encountering them in numbers. So this right here is giving you a good idea. 5 ways to keep ticks out of your home naturally, and there's a lot more. Keep your lawn trimmed. Yeah, that's why I was out there trying to cut the lawn and then got hit with a swarm of yellow jackets the other day because, I'm watching the grass grow taller and it's been raining so much and that we couldn't cut it. And I'm just, want to keep it as short as possible. In fact, I wouldn't mind not having grass and doing other alternative ground covers and things. But keeping the lawn short is definitely good. Ticks thrive in tall grass. They love tall grass where they can stay cool, hidden, and wait for people or pets to pass by. Remove old leaves and yard debris. Damp piles of leaves, brush, and wood can create the perfect shelter for ticks. Create a barrier or gravel or wood chips. Cedar. The Amish do a trick when it comes to the ticks. They put cedar around the perimeter of the property. If they can't do it around their entire property, then definitely around the house. And cedar, they don't like cedar. So cedar wood chips are very good. You could also spray like cedar essential oil on yourself, and that's not going to hurt anything. We always do that. We always load up with the essential oils as much as possible. I think they're like a first line of defense, and essential oils are a blessing.
Oh my gosh, they are. They're so wonderful and beautiful, and it's just so strange how good they are, and they really repel some of the most devilish types of entities out there, like ticks and cockroaches and fire ants and spiders. And, I just love the essential oils, and they smell so good, especially peppermint. I mean, my gosh, I lean in toward peppermint. All these bugs, they run away from it. So that's fine with me. My house smells like peppermint, bay leaves, you name it.
And we do that at night too. I mean, I always take the peppermint and put it like on the blankets around me, just in case one of the dogs picked up a tick that we didn't see. That way they won't want to climb up into bed with us at night. But Cindy has, what's that in that spray? Because it's like a whole bunch of things.
Oh, it's stuff. Our dogs are very big, so some people might cringe, but I put eucalyptus in it, tea tree. I don't think you're supposed to do tea tree. Eucalyptus, tea tree, peppermint. A lot of people say no tea tree for dogs, no peppermint for dogs, but I put it in there. My dogs are like 100 pounds or so, and I mean, they haven't had any problems, and the ticks seem a lot less. So I'd rather use, a few drops of that than anything else. We don't want to get the medication that they sell for the pets, because that poisons your pet's blood and can cause tumors and shaking and other things like seizures. And for me, I guess that would mean a lot more vet bills, and I can't do it. It might be the logical thing to do, because I think if Mike gets the one more tick bite, it could really do him in. I mean, it could be very, very serious. But both of us, we've decided that this is what we're going to do. We're just going to push back in different ways, and that this is our life. So, I mean, if I can't take that tick medication, I just don't want to give it to my dog, and I guess that's where I'm at. I know that there are cases though with fleas and stuff. Like sometimes if the fleas come in and they're on your pets and they're just taking over your whole house, then sure, you might have to go do something different. But that's not our situation. We're handling it the way we handle it, and we'll continue to do that to the very best of our ability. That's all any one of us can do. It should be never any judgment. Some people use that medicine, and that's fine. That's 100% fine. That's what they need to do. And sometimes that's better. I've seen animals extremely miserable with bald patches and itching and bloody and just not doing well because they're allergic to fleas, but they go get some flea medicine and then they're all better and their coat's better and their coats are silky. So you really have to weigh your own individual situation, and you can never judge someone for doing what they do.
Plant tick repelling herbs, strong scents like lavender, rosemary, mint, and sage can discourage them, and we've done that too. And I love having that type of stuff. Anyway, for me, it's like I love having herbs everywhere, and I think that is kind of like our first line of defense in many ways, naturally. Check pets and clothing after spending time outdoors. Absolutely. So that was the surprising thing with today, because we weren't really outdoors much at all. Hardly at all. Literally, we probably didn't spend more than 5 minutes outside all day. And where did this, it was a dog tick. And it just got me immediately. I sensed it. And I took it off real quick. And then the other thing too is I immediately put black seed oil and activated charcoal on it. This is what I feel is the best option that we've come up with so far, is like when you get something like that, the black seed can help to pull it, and the charcoal on top of the black seed, a little messy, but it's very, very potent together.
Oh, yeah. You got to decide what are you willing to deal with. We all have to choose our own suck. We just do. I mean, that's just life. You have to choose your own suck, and not everything is going to go the way you want it to, but life isn't designed to go the way you want it to. It's designed to expand us. It's designed to irritate us. It's designed to jab us in the ribs sometimes, to get us to think, to get us to speak, to get us uncomfortable, to get us to move. But we all have to, regardless, choose our own suck. What are you willing to do? I'm totally fine with a little bit of messy charcoal. No big deal.
Yeah. So this is Jasper Truth. People, to protect your animals from fleas and ticks, look up natural products, and he recommends crushed garlic. Now, you've probably been told by vets, don't do that. But at the same time, we've done a lot of research into it ourselves, and we know people that have, and we have also given them some garlic. It's kind of one of those things where probably 9 out of 10 vets will tell you don't do it. But at the same time, there's products that they would tell you to do that we would never do in a million years. And it's just direct experience too, and talking to others. So everybody has to weigh these things for themselves.
Right. So when it comes to the tests, the original tests that they did for dogs and garlic, it was just really a ridiculous large amount of garlic that would have made any animal sick. And then those are the results that they published. But you can go into holistic forums for pet medicine and find out like the measured amounts, how much you can give your dog. Like I can give my dogs up to a clove a day if I want to. I don't, but I can. Like Rama today, he was a little itchy, so I'm probably going to give him some garlic because that might be a little bit of yeast. That's itchy between his paws. So I might do a little garlic. I don't do it all the time, but for ticks, what I really, really like better than feeding my dogs garlic is putting the garlic powder right in their coat. You just rub it right in their coat. My dogs, they love it because they love the smell of garlic, so they just stand right there. And they let me do it. They're so good. They're like two big horses. They just walk up and they stand there and they let me pat them down with their powder, and they're all super happy. Or you can just put a white stripe, like our dogs. Our friend told us, he's a local, And he said, well, what the hunting dog owners do instead of giving their pets this stuff is the hunting dog owners, they put the white stripe, they put the stripe right down the middle of the dog's back. So if I do that with Rama and Sita, they look like a giant skunk. I'll put the white powder down their back, and it's kind of cute.
Other essential oils that they don't like: tea tree, neem, oregano, black seed and castor. They're right there by our bedside every night. They're so useful for so many things. They truly are a gift from the real creator.
Rabbit Royale, really, really great advice. Thank you for putting that in chat, because you never know who's going to need that, who's going to need that in an instant. Somebody, like the tips that you guys put in chat, might stick with the right person the next day. I mean, we're all in alignment together. We're here for a reason. So all of those little tips and tricks in chat, I just love it. Thank you. And besides, Robbie can always cut and paste them into the Reddit page, huh, Robbie?
So another thing, this man right here has the fix: sulfur powder. We have like 20, 30 pounds of sulfur powder. So yeah, we're not extravagant people, but when it comes to your health and safety, we never think twice about it. So yeah, I mean, we've got bags of sulfur powder. You could dust your yard, socks, property. Yet the weird part is we do all that, and still there's still some that make it through.
Yeah, you just have to keep layering it in. Like even if we did all this and did use the other stuff from the vet, there'd still be some that make it through. You just have to keep going. You have to get really stubborn, keep your nose to the grindstone, and keep moving forward to the best of your ability. Nothing is going to be perfect. There is no easy answer to the situation we find ourselves in. It's only about coming together and helping each other where we can.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Rabbit Royal. That's a great one. They're talking about getting bit by a brown recluse. Baking soda, activated charcoal, and honey, and sucked out the poison 2 days. That's wonderful. You can make your own salve, as you're saying there. Yeah, honey is pretty much probably the predominant sweetener in this house. I do think it's good if you get local honey too, because that could also help boost your immune system. This is the thing, like when you're eating local stuff, like most people don't even maybe consider the fact that when you're eating vegetables that are grown from your own yard, that's nature's way of balancing you with everything in your environment from the plant world. So the plant world and the animal world, we counterbalance each other. Again, we need oxygen, they need carbon. And so, we give off CO2, they absorb it. They give off oxygen, we absorb it. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. When you eat stuff that was grown where you live, and I would venture to guess that might even also go, probably would make sense to, even, if you are eating chicken and meats and stuff like that from animals like living in your area, I bet you it is better for your system. And, again, don't want to get into the whole vegan, vegetarian thing, just stating that there is, I think, a benefit to eating things that are in your environment. Because so much of the time now, I mean, it's kind of like silly. You'll look at a watermelon, a cantaloupe, or whatever, and it's coming in from Mexico, or it's coming in maybe from like South America, or sometimes Thailand, and way out there. Why are we getting stuff that could be grown locally from overseas? And again, they spray it, they coat it, they put it in these different types of mists to make it last for months. They put waxes on it. The way things are done. All those things add up, and it's just so many people with a toxic overload.
Mm-hmm. It is. And yeah, we do, Dan. We love our opossums. We have all kind of critters. We we lure them in as much as we can. We just love them. They're all around here, and they're super cute, and the chickens and whatnot. It's just we've been so inundated this year, us and so many other people. It seems, even layering everything in, it's like they're so determined to get us. They're so determined, but we're pretty darn determined to just keep trying. But yeah, those possums are so cute.
Yeah, I think they're cute. Yeah, we love the animals. Absolutely. Mm.
I forgot our karma doc told us to use the dryer sheets, and I did see a video. I can't remember who sent it to me, but very wise person sent me a video about how the ticks use static electricity, and they get stuck on you, right? So I kept hearing people wonder, like, I didn't know ticks could jump. I didn't know. And then it was on me all of a sudden, but those stinkers, they use static electricity. So Karmadoc is just brilliant. She comes up with dryer sheets. Yes, dryer sheets. So I usually get the dryer sheets and I'm tucking them in my pants and I'm tucking them in my shoes. And yeah, there's a health thing with the dryer sheets. You don't want to use them year round, but I'm using them now. Tuck them in my shoelaces, put them in my shoes, because the smell, they hate the smell. And I got the smelliest ones I could find, which is Gain. Gain has the smelliest dryer sheets. So that's another thing that I'm doing right now.
Andrea is asking, her pups has fleas. What would you do?
Well, I would first look at the diet. Honestly, we did have a really bad flea problem, and part of that was the diet. So we got them to where they were more alkaline, and you could also do the apple cider vinegar on the skin, and just keep trying, keep trying. You could try ivermectin. I don't know about cats though. I heard cats can't do ivermectin, but you could try a worming. But do your absolute best, and sometimes you might have to figure out a way to get them wiped out and start over. So it depends on the animal. If the animal is suffering, you go to the vet, you get them some help, and then you start working on diet. Then you start working on preventative medicine. You clean all the bedding, you do the vacuuming. You can put baking soda or salt all over your carpets, all over the bedding, because that's going to dry the little stinkers up. But you really need to treat them and the environment and just do what you can do, especially if they're suffering. So we need to act quickly, and then get your, and then once everything is all clean, if you do have to go to the vet, you get everything cleaned up, and then you start working on prevention and you just try again. But diet is really, really important, because I did notice if my animals eat a lot of kibble, it seems like the bugs are more. So we usually almost always cook for our animals, but not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do that. So we just we just do our best, really.
Yeah, Barbara O'Neill is another great resource. And, she is on Telegram there, has a free PDF for 81 powerful natural remedies that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about. Again, I think nature has everything that we need. I mean, to me, it seems pretty obvious. But, when you look at it, there's so many natural food sources, for instance, that I was learning about in our area that nobody really utilizes and would grow very easily and abundantly. And then why isn't it cultivated? Because I think, honestly, it's very, very systemic and systematic at the same time. Removing things, getting us to get rid of dandelions, look at them like they're a nuisance and a pest. So, you spread, again, glyphosate to get rid of dandelions. The chickens, they love clover. They love clover and greens. And here we are, we've cultivated these yards with perfect looking, but toxic and unhealthy, and not with any natural resources in them. Again, if we're in some sort of critical situation, which many parts of the world may be in, literally towards the end of this year. How about that bioengineered lettuce? Yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars to genetically engineer lettuce that literally has the polio, mm-hmm, yeah, inside its own cells. Uh, yeah, we understand. So many people already understand this, but for those one or two that might be watching this and never heard of that before, this is another reason why you want organic, even though they have worked on slipping things, like this into the organic. So this is where, again, it's best to, where you can, grow it yourself. Farmers markets locally, support your local farmers. That is so key. But ask them what they're doing too. Really understand what they use themselves in their, day-to-day operations.
And be very gentle with them, because some farmers might not know. So if they say something and you have been taught that that's really, really bad, don't be upset. Just talk to them. Just know, what are they doing. Any information is important. But you know local farms, support your local farmer, find a local farmer. And I have heard really good thing about some of the um places that ship food. I think, was it Misfits, and I can't remember. There's a couple others, Butcher's Box. I mean, you may just have to do what you need to do. But yeah, the best place to go is to a local farmer and ask them what they do. And if they do something that's not good, you definitely don't want to get upset, because I've heard of farmers, people asking farmers questions and farmers answering them, and they're innocent enough, and then these people just really get in there and rip them a new one, because they think the farmer needs education. Well, it is so hard to be a farmer. It is so hard. They work 24/7, 300 and 80 days a week, overtime every day, all day, and they get a lot of grief. So I think we just gently support them, wherever they need it.
Diatomaceous earth too is another good one. And what was the other one they always associate with diatomaceous?
So yeah, I like diatomaceous earth. I think is good, but it's almost like we were using that with our dogs when we had a flea problem back a few years ago. And for one, I was worried about the dust. I was worried about the dust because they would itch, and the dust can get in the lungs. And the other thing, it just almost didn't seem to work. And I wonder if the diatomaceous earth at times is not compromised. Could it be compromised? If you do use it, though, get food grade. Food grade is the best idea. And try it. I'm not telling you not to try it, because our situation is different from your situation, but I've heard good things about diatomaceous earth. I just haven't seen it work always.
There's one business that, with everything that's gone on, you would almost be amazed that it could still be in business. And I know I know you guys are aware of this. And, again, all the incidents of cancer popping up left and right. It's a very toxic world, but it's also a layered problem. It's layered. So when they look at stuff like, well, small amounts of exposure to, maybe the electromagnetic frequencies coming off your phone, well, that's not that much in and of itself, or a small amount of toxicity in this one food or in that one drink. The thing is, when all this is layered on top of each other, it causes an overload. When I was in my 20s, I had a whole bunch of allergy problems. I was literally using an inhaler every day, a rescue inhaler. I haven't used a rescue inhaler in like 25 years now. And what was the difference? It was in my diet, mostly. Really, it was as soon as I stopped all the GMO foods, as soon as I stopped the simple sugars. I mean, I used to get Coke and Pepsi with Domino's pizza for the kids. We did all that type of stuff too, many, many years ago now. And, I would have allergy problems like so many people. Well, when I went and shifted and just ate organic and watched closely what I was putting in my mouth, the allergies disappeared. My lungs cleared up and I didn't have those problems anymore. It was just simply what I was eating that was causing pretty much all my grief.
Mm. There's a way. Yeah, I mean, there's ways to clear things up in your system, and our way might not work for you, but it's one way. And if you haven't tried it and you have the problem, it's a good idea to try it. And what I have learned is that, there's so many different modalities for the same situation. Like, there's probably 20 or 30 different ways to treat Lyme's naturally. And I'm sure there's maybe 100, but you have to try which one is going to work for you. And when it comes to natural modalities, for one, you can't be taking in sugar because the sugar takes up the transport in the cells. So the good natural medicine cannot get in the cells to do its job. And then if it's not the exact right combination for you, it's not going to work anyway. So natural remedies are great, but you really have to dig in and find the right thing for you.
Top journalist Max Blumenthal exposes billionaire Miriam Adelson's massive control over Washington. He confirms she literally bought Marco Rubio's career and reveals, 47 has received money again from certain lobbies. When you look at it, this is the problem. There's only certain people that are going to be heard. And when you have a political system that's based on donations from, again, rich people, and they have corporate interests, they own stock in certain companies, you're going to get results that are not going to be results that indicate what the masses want. It's what the billionaires want. Australia just banned its billionaires from spending unlimited amounts on elections. That's awesome. And this is, again, what we were talking about. But it's still, Australia is one of the places where we have the most problems. And we have, some of the nicest people in the world there in Australia and New Zealand. The people from those lands down under, my gosh, we have so many really good friends, love them. But they've had some of the worst government. And this is a good one. Miriam Adelson was asked, how do you control American politicians beyond money? She refused to answer. 250 million here, people get these donations. You're being bought. This is it. The political system is corrupt. These people are all bought and paid for.
And that's what they do.
Yeah, so we need to stop that. We need to, no more lobbying. And also think of different ways of doing things. Again, the idea was floated. What if people in these political positions were not paid anything? What if it was done really out of the goodness of their heart, and maybe just enough of something, and not doing it full time? We need to change the way we think totally. This system is so corrupt, it's beyond fixing. You have Elon Musk turning 55, and with $1 trillion, right? He could pull hundreds of millions of people out of extreme poverty, pay off the medical debt in the U.S., climate-proof the world, end world hunger and homelessness. But he doesn't do it. Why not? Because you don't get to be a billionaire or a trillionaire by being in service to others. To me, it's a complete, what's the word? It's antithetical. I mean, it's like there's no way you could become a billionaire and literally be trying to better the world. You're just trying to better yourself. I think, again, they do token things all the time. And then even when we look to things like donations from Rockefellers and Rothschilds and others, there's always, and that Gil Bates guy, there's always a reason why they're doing it, because it's going to benefit them, whether it's tax write-offs or whether it's, again, like with Rockefeller, doing all these donations for education. It's so that he would control the indoctrination of the whole medical system, which he basically did. If you look at it historically, again, this is just for entertainment purposes.
Indeed.
Yeah, again, it's like you expect a billionaire is going to actually be out for us. AI zillionaires starting to get scared as the public turns against them. Well, we understand they built bunkers underground. They're mostly moving to the southern hemisphere because they know what's planned. And, they understand that people are catching on to the fact that they've bought and paid for the politicians. So, people are getting angry. As that anger boils over, people are increasingly channeling their frustration towards data centers. One of the few tangible points of leverage ordinary people have against an otherwise untouchable trillion-dollar tech industry. The world's tech billionaires are taking notice, carving out distant island compounds, private jet fleets in case of revolution. Mark Cuban, who made his vast fortune during the dot-com boom and has publicly beefed with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, is now warning his fellow moguls that the public's discontent runs far deeper than AI. It's time for everyone to realize that the fight against data centers has nothing to do with the data centers. They become a proxy for the hate towards AI and the concentration and accumulation of the wealth it's creating. There should never be a situation when you have so few people controlling so much wealth that it literally is costing lives. There's no reason for this. It's beyond any. There's no way this could be justified.
No, I can't. Mm-mm.
No, the world has to demand a change. And if they want to keep their money, let them keep their money. We'll go and do something else. We'll barter and trade. We'll develop some other alternative monetary systems, maybe based on simply silver or something else that is of real value. And here, Clayton Morris reveals a terrifying plot. Let's see. Oh, what are they doing this time? Let us see. Again, I think a lot of you have a good idea about this.
It's a war against time itself. A small circle of ultra-wealthy individuals has quietly poured billions of dollars into a highly secretive biotechnology project consortium. And their stated goal is to solve aging as if it's just like a software bug, to basically engineer immortality. But here's the truth that they won't tell you in their press releases. This medicine is not being built for the benefit of humanity at all. That's, of course, why they want massive global depopulation. We've heard that directly from those people like Klaus Schwab and others at the World Economic Forum. So they don't want us around. So this infrastructure that they're building, required to reprogram the human biology at a cellular level, is astronomically expensive. It's highly restricted, and it's fundamentally unscalable for 8 billion people. The resources are finite. The intent is exclusive. So we're not witnessing the dawn of a disease-free world for everyone. It's a war against...
No, again, it's just for themselves. And so when you have people that would let the masses suffer or perish in some sort of Armageddon scenario to save, themselves. Again, we're not even talking 1% of the population. Ultimately, it's much smaller than that. That's where the masses, the majority, must make a decision and decide that, we need to make life better for everyone, the masses. So we can't do it when these, elites are hoarding all the resources of the world and have the system rigged against us.
So while we're here creating a homestead in Laura, just, she says, Cindy, can you do a special blessing for the firefighters? They are working with ground tremors at 120 degree Fahrenheit and higher. And also it's just not getting out enough in the media. And you bet, absolutely, we're going to do some dings at the end, some prayers at the end, plus addressing it right now. And maybe even if someone can go put it on the prayer board for other people, and other people can see the prayer board, and we'll direct them to that for the firefighters and for everyone. We will do everything we can, and we'll do dings at the end here. Temperatures, not tremors. Okay, yeah, high temperatures. Got it. You are so welcome. Not a problem. We just do whatever we can.
And we do send out positive energies and prayers, and again, bless these people that are really putting their lives on the line. And 3 firefighters were killed in burnover as the Snyder Fire burns more than 28,000 acres along Utah-Colorado border. Again, it's just a horrible situation. All throughout history, we've seen where, the royalty has waged wars and at times literally captured other royalty they're fighting against. And then they forgive them. They marry off a daughter to a son. But meanwhile, what happened to all those peasants that were forced to fight their wars? They're just lives lost. This is the reality of it. The masses need to take control of the situation. We cannot trust them to do anything for us. No, they're waging a war against us. This is just the reality of that. So we do pray for all the firefighters there over in Colorado and Utah. There's quite a few fires going. In fact, extreme heat is the reality for 31 different states right now. It is summer. We're in summer. Yet, it's been extremes. The highs are higher than normal. The lows are lower than normal. Again, when you get rain, it washes away everything. The records are just being broken on every end of the spectrum.
Oh, for sure.
And there's our beloved KK. Thank you so much, KK. We're proud of you, KK. We've shared some, and you've shared some of your story, man. You are somebody that has overcome a lot. And literally, we didn't know if KK would be here at this point in time. I mean, she's gone through a lot, but she's overcome it against all the odds. And she also told her DRs some things that she would do and some things she wouldn't do. And she insisted on some things that they didn't want to do. And she followed her instincts, and she's better than ever.
She's here today.
Yes, absolutely. She is an amazing master manifester, an amazing part of this family, and we adore her. Poland, 105 degrees? Yeah, Poland, 105 degrees, 104.4, 104.9. I mean, that's just insanely hot. Because they've also been unusually cold, but then somebody flicks the switch and there you go.
Yeah, they're doing that here too, Bella. They've just taken, when they said, okay, well, that we're going to pass some laws about spraying, all they did is they went higher up and they sprayed. And yes, they are doing it at night in places that it is kind of a mess. We definitely have to focus to keep a higher frequency, because a higher frequency, that is our weapon, and it's a very good one, and we're using it to the best of our ability.
Tracy is saying needs to manifest a better job. Again, maybe a better situation that leads to more economic freedom. And, you never know what life can bring when you take chances a little bit. But, I'm not really a take chance person. Cindy is. She's the roller coaster girl, etc. Well, I guess you could say, because I do ride a motorcycle, that's taking a chance. But I did take a chance. I would have been shocked, 30 years ago to think that I've been out of the corporate world now for like 12 years. I want to say 12, 13 years. I left the corporate world, and it was a process. I was used to having a regular paycheck, and literally it was tough. But it's worth it to be able to be doing stuff that you really feel means something to your soul. I think that's one of the biggest blessings in life, is finding a way to get paid to do that which you would do anyway without getting paid. That's like one of the biggest manifesting jobs we can do in this world.
Indeed.
and a blessing when we're able to. You know, they told us about high cholesterol being a death sentence. Well, you know, the medical machine keeps lowering the numbers and handing out statins like candy. A massive Swedish study tracking over 800,000 people for 35 years just dropped this bombshell. Every single centenarian living, people living over 100 had high total cholesterol. The higher the LDL, the longer they lived. Wow. Again, LDL and HDL are not the exact same thing. High cholesterol isn't the villain. It's actually critical for glucose control, mitochondrial energy, libido, strong immunity. And this is the thing, realizing too, blood pressure numbers, they keep making them lower and lower and lower. The lower they lower the recommended blood pressure numbers, the more, again, people are going to qualify for blood pressure medicines. Just saying.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God the world is waking up. This says, fire your doctor if they tell you this about the sun. If any doctor, and this is from a doctor, Dr. Adiel Tel Oren, if any doctor ever tells you to stay out of the sun, fire them immediately. The sun is crucial for our health, not the enemy. Wait a minute. Gil Bates wants to block the sun out. Yeah, you get the picture. The sun does not create melanoma. It protects us from it. Again, if you're wearing sunglasses, there is a line of thought. Some doctors think that if you're wearing sunglasses, you're literally telling the body that it's in the dark, and so it won't create melanin, and that could be causing a lot of the problem. Also, what you put on the skin gets absorbed into the body. 90% of melanoma occurs on parts of the body that's not usually exposed to sunlight. Yeah, and then vitamin D. Oh man, chemical sunscreens that absorb into your bloodstream 14 times the FDA safe limit after a day. And you have oxybenzone, endocrine disruptor that tanks testosterone, drives breast cancer and endometriosis. Yeah, it goes on and on. It goes on, and still, it's still out there, and people still don't understand. If fluoride is so good for us, why does the packaging look like this? Toxic, skull and crossbones stuff. Yeah, and yet they want us to drink it? They've been making us drink it. Hellmann's mayonnaise. They're putting the mayonnaise in plastic containers, but there's also probably a lot of plastic in the actual mayonnaise itself. Do you know less than 2% of each jar is egg? 98% is chemicals, oils, cornstarch, EDTA, and thickened with gums. It's garbage, and it's sad because that's what we grew up with.
It is. It's horrible.
Yeah, and this is horrible. This guy's got to share. You, kitty on the left, you got to share. Don't be that way. Don't be an Elon. Elon, let the other kitty to the kibble.
Yes, share, darn it, share.
Yes, and we want to share our love with you and our gratitude. Thank you so much, Israel. Thank you so much, KK. Again, all you guys that are supporting us, thank you for showing up every day. We're doing our best to make sure we could go live on as many days as possible and still maintain our regular workload. May you all be happy, blessed, and free. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy. May they be free, and may my own words, acts, thoughts, and deeds contribute to the freedom and happiness of all beings. Just if anybody really lived that way, I don't believe they could be a billionaire and live that way, because they would have shared that wealth with others and support others that are literally in dire circumstances.
Now is a difficult time for people. I just want to make mention of some things before we go for prayer and sending people love and understanding. We have family members, I know KK's been having a very difficult time at home. She's going through something very stressful, so we need to send her love and energy. And also, Jen and the birds, she's had some stressors at home. I want to send her love and energy. Andy Sings, we want you to have a home. And I see that you do still support us and you don't have a home. And that really means a lot to us. So thank you so very much. It's an incredible thing to do. So thank you for your support. Tracy, I hope you definitely get the job that you need. And just go out there and kick butt and get all the things you need. I hope all of you guys do. And we appreciate your support so much.
I just want to put out there that, if I wouldn't even have to be Elon level, but literally with, even, much less wealth than Elon or Bezos has, what would I do if I had that, type of capability? I would have bought like 100 or maybe even 1,000 acres and set up an intentional community for everybody that wants to be around high vibrational people to come and live. We could have built, tiny houses together and built up, some recreation centers and healing centers on the property. That's what I would do. I think if I just even had like, $10 million or $5 million, I would still try to do a project like that, even less, because I really believe that we need to support each other in these times. I do think the times that are coming are going to be very challenging, and we're going to need to be around like-minded people. But for now, we have to work with each other at a distance and send each other the energy and the positive intents to really change things in this world. Boy, can you imagine if we could all hang together, guys? That would be a blast.
Creating a homestead, I just want to say, an extra prayer and a blessing to your area, the firefighters and everyone there. And, may everyone be safe and get better and heal from all of your wounds. You guys have been wonderful hanging out with us for as long as you have and helping other people in so many different ways on different levels, in ways that you might not even understand. When you add a positive comment or when you tell someone something kind in chat, you have no idea how much that may have been needed. I mean, it has a ripple effect, and so does negative energy has a ripple effect too. It's one thing to be frustrated at the controllers. We are frustrated as well, but please don't pull down the chat over your frustrations. Focus on the solution. So when you have a problem and you focus on the problem gets bigger. When you focus on the solution to that problem, the solution gets bigger. I just want us all to really keep that in mind in the chat.
Yeah, and going back to that one comment, just to reiterate earlier, where they were like saying, "Why are you going to talk about Lyme disease and alpha-gal? It's all like a psyop or something, or you're feeding the energy." No, if we could get people aware as to the alternatives, like we did, sharing information to try to keep the ticks away from you. And then what do you do when you are facing these problems? I mean, sharing information, that's always good. I just don't understand some of the mindsets out there. But, hey, everybody is looking at reality from their own lens. And Cindy's going to give us some dings.
Here we go, you guys. Have a positive thought. And here's to moving you into alignment. Here we go. You guys are amazing. Source bless and namaste.
Thank you so much. We love you guys. Source bless. Namaste.